Morphogenesis is an interactive dance, electroacoustics, video and virtual generative architecture performance installation. It is part of a broader project, Frontier Bodies, that explores the boundaries between art, technology and the body. Morphogenesis is bound to the idea of form as permanent process of representation that is never concluded. Frontier representations between the abstract and the concrete, the intelligible and the unintelligible, are explored in movement, image and sound. The movement of the dancer is captured through a video camera and analyzed in real time for the production and processing of sound, video and three-dimensional image. In the first sequence, called the dissolution of the multiple body, the live image of the dancer is processed as well as her voice, captured through a wireless microphone. The resulting image is a nearly abstract wash, changing in color, form and density, that performs a duet with the dancer. The dancer appears behind a transparent screen on which the image is projected, as if immersed within it. In the second section, the dancer processes sounds that are previously recorded, as well as video clips. Clips are currently conformed of two different groups: abstract film fragments and body fragments, the so-called micro-dances. The live processing of the image generates a dialogue with the dancer and with processed sound. In the third section, a three-dimensional image is interactively transformed and generated. Firstly, the dancer is immersed in three-dimensional structures, abstract structures that are deformed by her movements, sculptures and spaces in dialogue or duet as a body extension. Then lines and particles are generated according to her movement. Finally, all the elements climax in a pictoric dissolution of space. Sound starts with synthesis production and finally includes all other processes. The body is presented as an indeterminate or hybrid, thus trying to unleash it from specific determinations of sex or gender, bringing it into a sphere of the abstract, covered only by a thin transparent material that acts as a second skin, protecting the dancer in the floor movements and holding the microphone, which is the most visible element, even if hardly so, of our cyborg dancer. The voice of the dancer is multiplied, processed and dissolved as it moves in changing spaces generated by three different sound spatializers in 4 channels. All the parameters of the sound processing are controlled by the dancer, as well as the movement of the sound in space. Interactivity is not designed in the form of strict correspondences, but rather of open and often unpredictable ones, where the translation between parameters is not fully under control. Morphogenesis as an open space and process questions the boundaries of the performance, the artwork, the space, the performer and the instrument. The core of the instrument is composed by 4 computers. The first of these computers is dedicated to analyzing the image of the dancer and translating it into some basic parameters of movement. The image is first cropped, thresholded, and finally analyzed. The second computer is dedicated to video processing. the third computer to audio processing, and the fourth computer to the production of three-dimensional graphics. The process of formation of morphogenesis is the process of formation of an instrument, a hyper-instrument or body, a hyperbody. Yet the question is raised whether this is a body with or without organs. Which are the organs and structures of this body? Morphogenesis brings into convergence different artistic practices and forms of signification, which generate complex relationships between one another. Work starts in the intermediate point between disciplines, in their subtle and complex feedbacks. Yet the process demands to work first separately on each layer. All this occurs in an improvisation process in which a sedimentation gradually occurs, eventually developing into a piece or into possible elements of a structure, cells of ever-changing organs. This mutant body interrupts the chain of the performative reproduction of discourse to eventually become an antibody that resists and confronts hegemonic technologies of representation, that makes their mechanisms obvious where they were silent. If the representation of the body, the constitution of the subject, is a process concerned with an objective phallogocentric discourse, an incomplete, inconcrete process is presented that questions the objective status of matter and corporeality, opening up a horizon of endless materialization and dematerialization, in which any form may be, but no form has to be. Even if the piece is inscribed in the tradition of the amplified body, no materialist account of the body is raised. Yet the piece is not about dematerialization of the body. Rather, it is about the uncertain and broad boundary in which all materialization occurs. The posthumanist resignified under the sign of the instrument, in which the matter of the body appears as the result of complex morphological interactions and processes of sedimentation. Where the lines of foreclosure drawn by discourse are resignified, everything turns out to be only frontier and process. When the body speaks at the border of the speakable, assuming the risk of being cast out into the realm of the unspeakable,